This is Bud Rebel, and I have another exciting episode of the Bud Rebel Show. As you know, we have some really cool things we do on the show. We have some weird facts you won't see anywhere else. We have some business ideas. We can make money on things that, or lose money, but they're definitely unique. We have some investments. We have things that I hate. We're adding another flavor into this very shortly. Some different topics, and always try to end with a positive story at the end. So before I get started, I have a guest that we're reversing courses. A while ago, she had me on our show, and now I have her on my show. Her name is Meosha. Meosha, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So, Miosha, I mean, you're like me in a sense. You're a filmmaker. Am I correct with that?
Yes.
You didn't start out. Tell us how you got started with the whole business, filmmaking business, and how you got into the whole gamut, you might say.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I was about 16, 15, 16 when I rented the Alfred Hitchcock series Presents one summer with my mom. And I just fell in love with the format, the just how I felt like Alfred Hitchcock was such, someone who was such like ahead of his time for that time. And just I was like, I want to do that. Whatever he's doing, I want to do that. And I soon, got a YouTube channel when I always say when YouTube was good because YouTube is so saturated now, it's like impossible to,
When did you start
get
with
your work
YouTube?
seen.
When did you start with YouTube?
2006.
2006. I'm trying to think when YouTube started. I know I once saw the first video. I don't know if you know about the first video of the guy went to the zoo. That was the first video they ever had. Very interesting. I can't
That's
remember.
it. They got like
So in
20 million views.
2006, in 2006, you were just started making like little videos and stuff, clips and different things like that.
Yeah, like short films, and it all centered around like the thriller, psychological kind of, genre. And they were getting quite, a bit of views, like 100,000, and it started going higher. And then went viral. And then I just kind of started growing my channel and interacting with a lot of people that were giving me feedback from these shorts. And, I thought they were really good. And I was like, hey, I mean, there's something to this. Everyone is giving me feedback. So I just kept it going. And then that's kind of how I ended up went to modeling acting school. And I did it that way. And then I got into film.
But
Did
when you were doing these shorts, by the way, sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt. You're doing the shorts. You weren't making any money, right?
Well, at first I wasn't, but then later when I started getting more, viewership, I was making pretty good money from like monthly from the viewership. Like every I think 100,000 or up was at that time for my age. I would say I was getting four, five, $600 a month from just the videos.
But the videos themselves cost a great deal to make. No,
Well, short films, I had like friends in it, and I would edit it myself. And I mean, I thought they're pretty good. And I had at the time, a Canon T2i and I think oh God, yeah, Canon 6. I had some old Canons, but they worked at the time very well and had a few lenses, a 35 and a 55. And yeah, and I had friends and I got family in it and we just made it happen. And I was making some pretty good money from YouTube at the time. It
that's
was
amazing.
cool.
Because nowadays, I think you have to get like a million views just to get anybody to watch you to get any money out of YouTube. I guess that was when, yeah, right. YouTube needed content. I guess they were a little bit more, give you a bit more chances in those days, huh?
Yeah,
Uh,
it's hard now.
yeah, I mean, I think it's so hard for creative. There's so many outlets out there that to actually come back and make a living out of this, it's not easy.
It's not.
So now you're doing this stuff at YouTube, you said for a while, and from there you went and you went to school,
Yeah,
said
went to
right, for
school, went and I got,
acting,
huh? Yeah,
for acting,
acting
and
and I got a model and I got an agent doing modeling at the time in Florida. And it was great. I was getting paid, to go to do little gigs here and there, and did a few commercials, window model, did some really cool thing with the agencies. It was really nice to work. And I just felt like modeling and acting wasn't my favorite thing. It wasn't something that I was like, yeah, I enjoyed it for a little bit. And then I think what I really wanted to get back into was making shorts and films. So then I went to Full Sail University some years later. I was a little older now, and I studied cinematography. So I wanted to be able to shoot the films and create, more and get the a knowledge, understanding of how to create a film. And once I did that, I think I ended up moving to Pensacola, Florida for just a little bit. And I got a job with Roy Jones Jr., doing um, his boxing videos at the time. And we shot a music video for him when he under his company Bodyhead Entertainment. And I felt like that was really cool. And I ended up staying there for 2 years and
Wait,
working with
Roy
him.
Jones is the boxer, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so you work with this boxer, you videotape, you got the job, and he was like, wait, heavyweight boxer, right?
Yeah,
Did I get
he
it
did, I
right?
think, heavy middleweight as well. I think he had like
Okay.
two divisions, I think, at the time.
And he wanted like video of all the stuff that he did, like training and stuff like that, in other words.
Yeah, yeah. It was
So you
really
got to
cool.
meet the, yeah, you get to meet this boxer up front and see his regimen, I guess. Wow.
Yeah.
It's another thing that died, boxing, by the way. Now it's a UFC and stuff. I don't know anybody. It's a sad thing to see that. I grew up with Mike Tyson and
Yeah, good
Iron
good
Mike.
stuff.
It was so much. Everyone came together to watch these crazy fights. I don't know. Then now there's so much going on. It's hard to keep track. I guess the UFC took over the whole thing, but it's a whole
Do
different
you,
world, you know?
do you think boxing will come back?
Probably not. I think the world's a little more violent. I mean, I don't know that I can't watch UFC. I can't watch that they're kicking each other and grab. It's just it's too much for me. I'm it just it's so abusive. But to me, I mean, people love it, but the old boxing that was tough enough. Some people get knocked out, some people got really hurt, but it was a different, it was a different world in those days, I guess. It was
Yeah.
in those days, I don't know if you're my age, there were only like a few channels, so you only watched boxing or football, whatever. So not that much. Now there's all different things going on there. So yeah. So Roy Jones, you worked with for how long?
2 years, 2 years. It was originally just going to be Shooty's music video, and then it just happened to turn into 2 years working for his company, which was really cool. I learned so much, and then I think one day I was like, this has been awesome, and I got to, and he and his family just wonderful people. Um, and I was like, this is great, but I want to go do film, I want to go to Hollywood. So he gave me some advice, and which was, I mean, just wonderful. And yeah, I went to Colorado Springs, and then after that, California to pursue the film world there, and tackle that world. And it with no plan, no plan. I just bought this crap car and drove it to California.
And so you get your so but you have a little background, Roy Jones. I guess you could use that on your resume and all the stuff that you did, all these videos. But what's your first job in California? What happens then?
So it's so funny because I remember I was like, okay, God, so what next? I get there to Los Angeles and I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I remember there was a guy on Facebook he was like, whenever you get to Los Angeles, give me a call. And I did. And he ended up giving me his address. In hindsight, obviously, I would not recommend people just going,
Yes.
but it turned out to be a great situation. But that's how I live my life. I'm a go-getter. I just go and do it, and I feel like that's kind of been how I live my life. And the most exciting things happen that way to me, unexpected things as well. Um, but I met with him and showed him my reel. I had all my stuff in the car. I was living in a lot of like motels and hotels at the time because I just didn't have any idea. I just wanted to go. And he looks at my reel and he's like, I really like your spunk. I like your drive. It reminds me of myself when I was your age. And he was like, how do you feel to start, tomorrow? And I was like, really? Okay. So he writes down the address, and I I was just amazed, and grateful. And I showed up the next day at a music video set, and it just kind of was history from there.
Wow. I mean, it seems like everything was going in favor. I mean, when you decided to go in this career path, I mean, how did your family think it was like a Did they stand with you? Was it, or did you have a lot of opposition going this direction?
I think my mother for sure was definitely always on my side. My dad, he was just saying, he was a little reluctant, but he was like, if there's something you love to do, then, I can't stop you. But my mom is just like, you can do anything, I'm not going to stop you. I'm always here to support. Um, I had some family members that thought it was a little strange, like, oh, you shouldn't go to Hollywood, Holly weird, but I
But
was
you must
like,
hit some bumps on the road. Where was the bumps that you hit? Right now, it seems like all smooth sailing. So,
yeah.
what was your first quote bump, you might say?
Oh man, the bump. There's been a few bumps for sure with Hollywood. But I will say the bump when I kind of knew, okay, this is going to be a problem for a long time. And it's still around, but it was with my one of my bosses. He hired me for a job, and you know, very nice guy, and I didn't think that he was flirting with me, but then as we kept working together, it became really apparent. And I was just like, oh no, like that's not what my intentions are. I just want to work and, keep my head down and that's it. Plus he was married, I knew his wife. And so it was just like, oh no, what did you do? And then it got to the point where it was like an ultimatum, like, are you going to do the job or walk through
Wow.
those doors? So I had to leave, and that was
So,
really disappointing.
yeah, I guess that was before the Weinstein type of act.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
it's it's still it's still very prevalent.
it's still prevalent in Hollywood with that type of people, and it's an interesting thing because actors always got to smile and seem happy and all that stuff. And people can get these cues a little mixed up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially a guy like in New York who doesn't, no one says hello to you. So people get confused, I think, a little bit. Do they like me? Do they not like? How do I go about it? And it's wrong if to like you just said, ultimatum type thing. But it's a confusing line because again, I'm sure it goes the opposite way. I'm sure as an actress, there are people that will do anything to get a position. You watch them will move up the ladder really quickly, and you're
Very.
like, wait a minute, I earned my way, and it's not really the right way to go. So, and
Which
it's
which
still going on.
which honestly, I feel like it gives the people that really want to do good work kind of like a bad rep. It's like, don't ruin
So
it for
how'd you get
us,
there?
you know. But there's always someone willing to do what you're not willing to do.
Right. And then the question is, yeah, you're all the way up there. You must have been
Yeah.
that type of person. Yeah, yeah. And it's a shame that you can't go back and prove it differently. So when that happened with you, that must have been, I mean, you left, but you were like just blown away.
Devastated. I was devastated. I was like, so what's wow, well, how do I get, that's my paycheck, that's and for a while, after I'm a kind of person that's like, yeah, if something's not working out and yes, I might not have and I'm on the down by like $50 left, and I'm living in Los Angeles, it's like I'm gonna figure it out, right? I'm in that kind of person. And I don't like to ask for help. I like to figure it out myself. Even though I could have called my parents for something, or whatever, I was like, I'm going to figure it out. So I was looking for roommates and places to live, and I found a few people that were really really cool. And then I got a job working for another production company, and this particular person that I had to walk away from, I had, just to be able to see them still working in the industry, but you can't say anything because if you say something, you'll lose your other potential jobs down the line. So
Right,
that's the
right,
situation of like why there's so many people that are still that exist, like you're in this business, like that are in these positions of power, and they use and abuse their power, and not just to women, but men also get it too. I mean, I've heard a
right.
lot of actor friends of mine and filmmaker friends of mine who've kind of had situations with producers or directors that would say, okay, what are you going to do for me? If you want this position, I can get you on this television show or this deal. And
Mm.
you're just like, and then some people give in because it's like, well, what am I don't want to be homeless. So But
And you know those people too. You probably work with those people too, and you know they did that. And that's
yeah,
why it's like it's because you know that when you left that job, somebody else that was, I guess, fairly good looking like you got that job.
got
All of a
it. Yeah.
sudden. So so it is wow, it's a crazy twist. I would have thought after Weinstein this would have calmed down a little bit.
You think so?
Um,
Really?
I would think that people will be a little scared about doing that afterwards, at least initially.
I
You
think
know,
I've been in rooms where I've heard men say, who some men that I've worked with in film, that they would say, "Oh, that would just, make it more interesting." I'm just like, "Are you
and
serious?"
it's to me, it's almost, you know, it's I could see the other way around too. I could see a person saying, I want this role. I'm going to flirt with the director to get the role, and the director's like a human being. I can see that happen a lot too. So it's very interesting. I've done some productions and I have nothing like this.
Really?
Yep, nothing. No, we're just well, it's just independent films that we're there. So we get right down to business, and I have women directors, so usually, and or people that I have different casting crews, so it makes it a little easier, I guess, in that way that we did.
Yeah,
So that was never. I was always about trying to get it done in time. That was my big fear.
I
Make sure it
love
was in
that.
budget. That's why it was my fear. All right. Before we go any further, you also have another. You're going to tell us about another hurdle you have to how to go over. We're going to go over that when we come right back. Okay, we're back right now. But before I get to your hurdle, I wanted to give you something. I always like to have a little weird facts. So this is a little weird one. During the 1939 Nazi Olympics, one of the biggest sponsors was Coca-Cola. And now I can like say they didn't know. I could say, nobody knew, I guess, how bad it was, I guess then. But it's not a very good blemish. It did survive that one.
Did it? Wow.
Coca-Cola survived it in 1939, but I thought it was really weird. Oh, here's another one you probably didn't know. I have known this song. Lollipop by Lil Wayne. It's tied for the most banned and loved song over the last 10, the song they loved the most over the last 10 years. Is that crazy? You got both of them the same. But I think if we get banned, people are gonna love it. So I think it's like a tie-in. People want what's banned. If
Yes.
you want people to want something, you ban it, you know?
It's crazy, right?
Yeah. The dog, by the way, is scratching my door. I don't know if you know that. So the
Okay,
dog
yeah.
scratching into my door. She wants to come in. You have a dog?
I
They
don't.
beg
I
to come
don't.
in. They beg to come in the room. And then when you let them in the room, they beg to leave the room. Like they don't have any decide what they want to do. It's not like she has anything really important to do. It's not like she's in a podcast, not like she's doing anything. She just has to leave the room. So everyone's just scratching the door, leave. Let me see. Do you want to leave or stay? And then I leave the door open. I'll try to get people want to come
Oh.
in on podcast. Oh, and then she'll want to come back in. It's gonna happen in a minute. Just watch.
Right.
There's no real point to this. None. But you'll get a scratch in a minute. It's my dog. So sorry.
I love
So then
it.
so you start working at these other companies. It's getting better. Now you got a little consistent thing going on here.
Yeah,
You
now,
do you,
definitely now. Definitely
no,
now.
I'm saying you went through you're doing I'm saying after that you went through after the period where this horrible person did what they did and you got another job. What any more big hurdles you had to hit?
Oh, definitely. I've had so many. I've had someone, I've even helped a friend get a job. I was telling her about, and they're a fellow filmmaker friend. Well, at the time, and I was like, "Hey, I know this production company. They're great. I'm working for them and all this stuff, and I'll tell them about you." So I give a good word. I get reference to them, and next thing you know, I'm out of a job and I didn't know why. And someone in the down the line, someone that knew someone on the production told me why. And I was just blown away of like, I would think women would support each other, in this business, but Not everybody supports each other.
Wait, so what'd she do to take you out?
Well, she basically said some things that wasn't true about me, and I don't know. And then it just kind of got word, and then they were like, well, we're gonna have to let her go. But they believed her, and she's has some clout in the business. So I can't say the person's name, but they got the
No, no.
job.
So I mean, so this person and she took your job.
Yeah. But it's
Wow. I bet you're not
okay.
friends with her anymore.
No. No.
That's crazy. That's
But
wow.
I don't wish anyone ill feelings, ill will or anything like that. I do believe that what's for you will happen for you. And if a door closes, maybe that wasn't for me.
Your job.
You know what I mean? I do believe that, uh, God will orchestrate the things that go left or wrong right
Hmm.
for you. And I really am a believer of that. I think that's been my saving grace in this business of you got to really have faith in the good times, in the bad times, in the uncertainty. I mean, even when, COVID happened and that was really scary. I felt like it was the end of the world and, but
What did you do during COVID? How did you survive that
actually started the podcast, the Creators to Creators podcast.
that's when you started? Smart. That blew up a bit, right? That's been doing very well with the whole growing as a whole. Wow. That's amazing because yeah, I think that's a lot of people got that podcast feed in the water.
Yeah, yeah. That was one of the, I guess, the ones that, because I did a few podcast shows like years ago, like another show called Tea Talks with Meosha and Irina, and it was more of a sit down kind of podcast conversation with two, women talking about different topics. And so I knew that I could do it. I just didn't know what I wanted to talk about. And so in during COVID, I was like, well, I could start with people in the entertainment business. What are they doing right now to stay creative? Because I was kind of losing momentum of like, what's next, now that we're like all in prison here.
Mhm.
And it was really good. It was really positive to just be able to have interaction with people then. So
You've been staying in LA all this time, huh? With everything, with the fires, with the riots, with
fires
the.
was crazy.
Were you near
I'm a
that
bit of a
area?
conspiracy theory. I'm a little bit conspiracy theorist, but I don't want to get too deep in that. I have a few theories about the fires, but
Give me one of them.
well, I just think that I feel like that was definitely the government. That's just me. I feel like that was a
But,
government
but,
situation.
but it made them look really bad.
Well, that's the government. The government's done a lot of things over the years.
Yeah,
They're
I
really
think I
good.
think the government was responsible.
Yeah.
I think the government should have been more prepared. I think the government's fault about this. They want to save some nice, beautiful little fish, which is wonderful. I'm saying fish, but to not allow the water to move where it should go, and not build housing that's quote fireproof and not be ready. That's your number one thing. To me, government's number one job is security.
Yeah.
If it doesn't do security, forget about all these other fun things they want to do with this group and that group. No, you need to make sure your streets are safe. And if there's fires or anything, you can take care of your people. And if you can't do that, then no matter what you are, Republican, Democrat, whatever you are, then you shouldn't be in office. And they
Yeah.
failed. And everybody in LA should said, you know what, that was a complete failure. I don't care what, I can't vote for these people. They're still not building houses, I think.
No, and I really feel like the theory around it is because they wanted to get rid of the. I think this is around the times when the P Diddy trial was going on with the
Mm,
list. So it makes sense to make a fire happen and different people, like people's houses that were gone who are probably on the list that it doesn't exist anymore, just like the Epstein files and so on and so on. But I don't
mm.
know. That's just my theory.
That's okay. It's all right. It's always interesting here to see a different theory. The thing about conspiracy theories is hard to prove them wrong, so that's why they exist so long.
Right. Right. Do you have one that's like, I don't know, a conspiracy theory that you're just like, I think this is what it was, like a Hollywood.
Well, so I have conspiracy theories. I mean, yeah, I would say like some of the things that like, I mean, I don't think it's a conspiracy theory. It just seems to be factual at this point. As a matter of fact, or a script is that they really were out to get the president, Trump. I mean, it's obviously from day one that he was challenging the whole system, everything from the right and the left that he wasn't allowed to do. You're not allowed to be out of foreign wars. We need to keep this military complex going. You can't just stop that. I mean, you can't like cut these government programs. These people need to work. They work for the
Yeah.
government. These things that he's doing were just. too destructive to the society that existed, and they would stop him at all means necessary. It really is at all means necessary. I mean, it just and the more you read about it, it's just weird, that how they all these prosecutors, everything they could get at him, they did. So I don't know if that's a conspiracy. I'm just wondering because he was very different. He's very, very different. They don't like that. They want you to stay in your lanes. When you get
Yes,
out of your lanes, that's
then
when
it's
you're
a
in trouble.
problem.
Yeah, yeah, and he had the money to do it. So that was a problem with that one. Um, Talking about also, I'm just going to go into something interesting. You don't have a dog, but if you did have a dog, you would want this product that I want to develop. It's called dog caffeine. And it's not literally dog caffeine, but you have coffee in the morning. So I feel bad that dogs don't have their own quote dog Java. So what they would have is a certain drink that they would have in the morning. Have three dogs, and it would give them a little, maybe a little spike, not much. They have no spikes, dogs, but give them a little bit of vitamins, and maybe even be in the color. It looked even called dog Java, maybe. The dogs like that. What do
I
you
like
think?
that. That's
Thank
cool.
you. Yeah, I mean, I'm working on some dog products as well. So,
Nice.
what's been going on lately? So, are you been consistently making now, producing films, productions, and stuff like that?
Yeah, like right now I'm really just I just got to see well I can't really say who I who would approach. I haven't signed yet, but really some exciting news about a project next year. Thriller, crime. So I'm very excited about that. Um, but I am working on currently Church Hurt season two.
What's it called?
I'm really Church Hurt.
Church Hurt. What is that
Yeah.
about?
And it's really was inspired and it all came together because a friend of mine committed suicide a year ago due to church hurt and
Wow, sorry.
thank you. Someone I've known since I was a kid. We were in Christian private school together and we just kind of got older and parted our ways and but we kept in contact. He would call me here and there and he always seemed very happy and just full of spunk and spirit. And he would always encourage me when we talk on the phone and pray for me and everything like that. And he was a good guy. And then I heard a year ago through a friend of a mutual friend of ours, he said that, he was gone. And I honestly couldn't believe it because he's just such a nice guy, such a funny person, such a light. And you just never know. You never know what people are going through. But it just I had to know like what happened. I was just so curious. I was like, there's no way this guy is gone. So I reached out to one of his friends on Facebook. I saw in a few of his pictures, and I said, "Hey, I've known him all my life," and we got on the phone and we talked for hours about what happened and how he ended up committing suicide, and it was really shocking and sad. It was stuff that he to do with church and abuse, with power. So it just prompted me to make a project about church hurt and how there's it's a universal problem, like and it's been happening for a long time and it probably will never stop happening. But
In, in,
I
in general, let me know just like what do you mean by church hurt? Do you mean like church is like being sexually abused by the church officials? What do you mean like that type of stuff? Is that what you're talking about basically or what?
yeah,
What
sexual
can
abuse, mental, all of that. Um, just stories that people who joined a church and it wasn't whether they joined a church and looking for God and then come back and it's like it's not what they thought it was. So just different stories from different people. That's what Church Hurt's about. And season one is on like all the audio platforms, audiobooks. It's 6 episodes, but right now we're working on season two. So very
cool.
excited to
And you say this is an audio book, so people can listen to it on like Spotify and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And so I guess if Spotify watches, a lot of people watching on Spotify, you get advertising. And if you get advertising, then that helps you generate the revenue to produce it. Is that how that happens? I mean,
Yes.
that happens with all the podcast world, has it? That basically
Yeah,
it?
yeah, it so there at the time I was looking for a place for it to, to live and not just put it out just because I mean I put, money behind it and I
Right.
produced it and I edited. It was a lot of hard work. It was a labor of love and I founded a little small distribution company that, you know, uh, particularly like wants audio books. And so, yeah, pitch it to them and they picked it up. And yeah, and I, all I had to do was, deliver the deliverables and the audio files and the times and all that stuff. So, yeah.
So I mean, because I mean, as a filmmaker, and as a I did an audio drama too,
Yeah.
and it's called Seduction, like we talked about, and
Nice.
it's an interesting world because filmmaking. I have a company distributing my film, but it hasn't had revenue come back, which is disappointing.
Oh,
Right, the first one was really light, and the second one's not great at all. So we're trying to do that, and with the audio drama, I have it on Spotify, and I think the way it works is if Spotify, if people like it a lot, then the advertisers go. I guess you could sell it to somebody and they can give you money for it, but I don't know. It's an interesting world because there's so much out there. I mean, I guess you have to keep your costs really low
yeah.
because they're not going to give you a lot of money to make it, but you want
No.
to make something of high quality. So that's a little bit of a problem on both ends. By
Yeah.
the way, so talking about because you seem to be a religious person. I mean, do you
Yeah.
go to church yourself or are you spiritual yourself? You found a church that works for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I've all through my life. I mean, I'm a preacher's kid, so I grew up
Oh,
in church, very much that kid. And growing up, it was different for me then, because I think it was through the lens of my parents and that kind of covering. And then I got older, of course, and kind of went on venture on out on my own, um, and discovered what works for me as far as like I feel like I grew up in religion, like just super religious and super like head in the clouds and never coming down to earth, And then I got older and I was like, it's okay. It's not, I don't have to be up here all the time. We're human. Um and yeah, and I'm a believer, yeah, of Christ. I'm definitely a Christian for sure. So
yeah, I took my own journey. I'm Jewish. I was brought up in a Reform synagogue where the rabbi was more like a church than a synagogue. They had a choir, and the rabbi was I should fall asleep for 3 hours and wake up and still in the same spot. Um, and it was more led by not the rabbi who's a religious leader, but by this board that was elected something. But it was weird. And then if I could have failed being a bar mitzvah, I would have failed. I was like the worst student there. I was like, it's terrible. But they let you, at 13, no matter what you do, you graduate, unless you committed murder or something, you're bar mitzvah. So I got through that. But even through that time, I was watching these preachers, televangelists on TV, trying to get some more spiritual message. And then when I went to Orthodox synagogue briefly. I even went to Jewish Scientology. I was always
really?
searching, and then I went to conservative synagogue and not finding any mission. And because it got more political than religious, they would talk about I don't know what's it called, green trees or something on the holiday instead of the holiday, whatever. And then the congregation that I belonged to, somebody said about merging with Chabad,
Hmm.
and so I went into Chabad, and my whole vision of religion changed. My whole vision of religion, these people were there, and these are Chabad is like the most traditional you would think.
Hmm.
People come in there with shorts. People come in there with black tops. People come in who are like the most studious people in the world. People came there like they've been there like 5 years, and everybody's accepted where they are.
Wow.
And it's a really loving community. It's really easy going. It's actually, dare I say it, it's fun, the services. I don't know how to say that in services, but it's very mellow. It just changed my whole perspective. And it's still religious. Instead of this long sermon you'd get from like a preacher or whatever, he said to get his paycheck, whatever. He asked questions. You ask the rabbi questions.
Yeah.
And I must be very annoying because almost every service I ask questions, I'm a person ask questions. And at the end, he always has usually has an answer. And if he doesn't, he's gonna look it up.
Oh, I love
He's
that.
not gonna and because I'm just really inquisitive. But the amount of information this man has is unbelievable. It's
Wow.
unbelievable. So that has been my spiritual, that's been my anchor right now. I'd hate to see it fall. And he has the best parties and people are so mellow. And the people that are there are really incredible. Just
I
really
love
incredible
that.
people. They've really helped me out during difficult times. So
That's
and when I spoke
beautiful.
about it, yeah, faith is very important to me. It helps me get through some really crappy times,
Yeah.
and it helps me also. You got things go great, and you just got to keep yourself level headed. Goes both ways. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
I find it. the anchor of my life. So, but so I mean, and I guess it's really horrible when you have a minister or a rabbi or imam that does something that's so unethical against the faith. And you just like, I guess, like I hear about the Catholic priests that abuse kids, and I'm like, whoa. I mean, rabbis do it, I'm sure too, and imams do too. But that was a big story, and that's I think that's people, how do they deal with that? Because this is someone they trusted, they believed in, and then all of a sudden they do this thing, you know. Even the stories you tell me about what's goes on in Hollywood. I mean, this people have a certain responsibility when they get a certain level that you expect them to act a certain way,
Right.
you know. And that's just that that's I guess the big church hurt. So that's and that so it's not just sexual thing with a physical abuse. It's also what else would you say it consists of? So I'm just curious.
Mental, just how people can, and it's also just, how people can use your mind, talk like play on your mind. I think people who come to church, and not everybody, but I think in this particular, these stories in the first season I explore is a lot of people who were vulnerable already to begin with that just wanted to find God for themselves, and then they happen to stumble upon actually this is not a good church, this is a cult. This is a cultism,
Right, right,
you know
right. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that, right? And because the people are needing something, and these people know it.
yeah.
And I don't want to use this word. I'm not using it. I was going to use the N word that I don't like, the narcissist word. I hate that word. But there are, I guess, a lot. There are a lot in these businesses because there's a lot of power in that. So maybe there is, but I hate using that. That might be an example. All right, we also talk about investments, by the way. I don't go too off. And what is pretty interesting investment is Facebook Marketplace. The reason I think it's pretty interesting is
Yeah,
because they come to your house and pick your stuff up. You don't have to like, but you don't have to have to travel it somewhere, and it's right there. So it's sort of cool. Trying to
that's
get rid of
cool.
some of my old things, so it might be a good thing to do. I also think, as we're talking about with you too, I think it's important to invest in something called inner peace. I mean, if you're not in peace, then it's hard to focus on all the things around you. You're incredible, by the way, about that. I mean, like you talked about some really tough situations.
Thank you.
And those type of situations could stop somebody. You're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to deal with this. This is so unjust. But you pursue past that. And I guess it's part of your faith. And I guess it's part of your, I guess inner peace.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely has to be. I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, to find that peace, right? We it couples with that comes with faith, right? No matter what we do, I think that's a part of the journey of life, of finding our way back to source, which I always say is God. Um, and the more because God lives in us, because we were made. I didn't make myself, but I do believe that we all just have to find our way back to source, which is God. And I think if we continue to, and for me, I start my day with gratitude, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for life. Thank you for waking me up this morning. And I look at the what I do have versus what I don't, and it just kind of realigns me, and just with everything.
Let me ask you a question because this is it says about the Christianity thing.
Yeah.
Belief. When Charlie Kirk died, his
Mm,
wife, unbelievably, in front of everybody, said and I thought it really was in the heart that she forgave this person.
yeah.
How's that even rationally possible? That I mean, the point of that being forgiven, of course, she wants him to get the death penalty or serve time. I that did it. She wants him walking down the street.
Right.
But that forgiveness, and I know it's, based on Jesus and stuff like that, but that must be, I mean, incredible. Do you forgive those people that did you wrong? Are you able to let it all go? Or do you like, even if you forgive them, you still can't forget it. You're not going to go out, like you said, to your friend and say, I trust you again. So it's like, it's an interesting dilemma, which I'd like to know how you see that.
It's a great question. I really do feel like it takes a certain, I mean, it's at some point, right? As we get older, a lot of things that when at the time when that happened, when I was in my early 20s, I was No, I'm never, I'm really upset. I'm holding a grudge. And then as I got older, things start to kind of, it doesn't matter anymore. Now that I'm in my 30s, where I'm at in my life now, and how much I've learned, and how much I've grown, just with life and life lessons and things that people that I meet along the way, the journey. It's like there's no point, of holding on to anything. I mean, because I think it really stops you from opening yourself up to new experience, new joys of life, because you know, we all get one life, and I
Yeah.
don't really have time to think about that anymore,
Yeah, I think people take too much real estate in your head. That's true. Which brings, I'm just starting a new part of this thing, and it's about mental health.
Yeah.
And a lot of us have to deal, and again, I'm using this word, narcissist in this one, or personality disorder, but generally people that don't have the ability to understand what they've done wrong,
Mm,
and also they expect you to like be the type of person that forgives them whatever, even whatever, or sees you in the microscope.
yeah.
I know the ones that are really the ones that start tension that you everybody has in life. So I learned something about these people because they have an illness, basically. Whatever this one is, if you could do three things, it's called ER. You have to empathize with what they're feeling. It can be simple thing like, like I'm sorry I hurt you. And it doesn't mean that you understand it, but you
Right.
understand that you hurt them. And then you give them the attention to let them just spill it out. And this is the hardest thing because you have this people that's throwing the most venom thing in the world to you. And then reflect on, give them respect what they say. Okay, you're right, there is something. Even if to you it's inconsequential, you can understand where it comes from. It might lower the temperature.
Mhm.
So it's not something to think about because we're always going to run into these people that are just a little too quote dramatic. I guess we'll leave it as such. And if you can learn that way to do it, I think it would help.
100%. I love that.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that. Thank you.
it's a tough one, very tough. So I just learned it, and I'm trying to practice it. So uh, here we go. Things that I hate. I hate when people assume the negative.
Ooh,
I can't stand that. I always try to see the cup half full, and assuming the negative drives me insane. People that like you get something like, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? It's a negative way of looking at it.
yeah.
And the second thing I hate just recently happened as I have a little bit of a big nose here. So I can smell things, but sometimes I can't find where the smell is. I have a funny story to tell you. This is a very funny story if you don't mind. So I'm in my car and this smell is horrible. And I'm cleaning the car, washing the car, getting it all out, doing everything I can to get it. It's still there. And then I checked, like underneath the back seat. Guess what I found? Eggs. I must have these eggs there for, oh my gosh.
Oh my
That
God.
was an example of bad smells.
That's hilarious.
It's hilarious now, but oh, did it smell
Yeah,
bad then?
at the time, it's like, no, no.
I also have another new feature. I'm just adding. Well, everyone's like change it. I have to say, I'm not the biggest Taylor Swift fan, but the new Opalite song is really catchy. I have to tell you, it is very catchy. It's amazing. She's a billionaire, and she's still
She's a
kept this going
billionaire?
on forever. She's a billionaire, Taylor Swift.
What?
Yeah, she's totally
Wow.
marketed. It's brilliant. She's a brilliant marketer. But the music is still, I have to say, it's decent. I can't
Huh.
argue it.
That's cool. I didn't realize that. She's yeah, great marketer. They make her, I don't know how she did it, but she looks the same. I mean, she's kind of got out the look of the sweet, but she's really, that she has a lot of young girls like fans. Girls
Yeah,
love her.
and she still has a little bit of a sweet side to her. It doesn't seem like she's like whatever. It doesn't seem like she's what I don't know. Never seen that. I mean, rough side to her that much, a little bit, but I think she has. Yeah, they unbelievably love her. It's incredible that she's kept it. There's so many people that don't keep it, and you see like they have a one hit wonder or whatever, and it's an interesting thing. I don't know. Maybe you dwelled in. You said the music videos. I don't know if you dwelled in the music industry too.
Yeah, I did. I did do a little some I did a I've shot Billy Idol
Oh
music
my gosh.
video, Can't Break Me Down. That was really, really cool. Chris Brown, a few
So,
others, Keisha
wow, wait, I gotta
Cole.
stop you there. You got two very interesting people. Billy Idol, as you know, if I know, he had a little bit of a drug problem.
Yeah.
I don't know when you shot his video, did he have that issue? Because I mean, he probably had to take a lot of breaks if that was the story. Probably wasn't like it. Probably was a very long video.
Well, yeah, it was 24 hours. We spent 24
Oh my
hours filming.
gosh,
Yeah.
just one video.
It was called Can't Break Me Down. It was a black and white. It's actually on YouTube. And it was really, really cool. It was a long process because it was like a really hard shoot. It's like these room full of mirrors.
I'm watching
That
this
we had
afterwards.
to,
Can't break me down.
yeah.
This was not his biggest song either.
No, definitely not. I think this is one of his comeback albums, and I don't think it did that well at the time. But the song, I really love the song. The song was great.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. I mean, you could see that he used drugs. You can't hide that face after a while. You know, you see that, you're like, okay, yeah, no, that was definitely using drugs. And the
Rock
other
and roll.
gentleman, and the other gentleman you did was, who would you say, Chris
Chris
Brown?
Brown, yeah, Chris
Isn't he
Brown
the?
was, yeah.
Is that before or after?
Oh no, I think honestly, I think that was we shot that video in Compton, and that was definitely after the fall, I guess, if you will.
How
But
was it?
somehow he's made a comeback.
How are these people in life, in real life? Billy.
I thought Billy was lovely. Billy Idol was very lovely. He was really cool. I mean, he was awake. I was just like, how does he have so much energy? I need to learn. I'm
Well, you
exhausted.
know why it's the energy. That's
And
behind the point.
Chris Brown was really lovely too. He was very, he was speaking to everyone. But we did it like a very indie style. So we were all handheld cameras and like this apartment building, and a bunch of guys came out, and we went inside and were recording it, the music, and so much smoke in the room. I was just like getting high off a second like contact, just recording. And but then like maybe a couple hours into filming inside the house, TMZ came out, and it was like we walked outside. It was a line of people like just waiting to meet him, and I was just like, oh my god, like this is
So what's
insane.
Chris Brown's song we have to listen to? Which is that one?
That actually it was featuring Chris Brown. It was Compton
Oh,
Menace, this rapper who and featuring Chris Brown. So Chris Brown came out,
Compton
and
Minute.
yeah, Compton Menace.
That's
Yeah, and
oh
never heard of
Menace.
him before at the time.
That was always a song with Compton Menace and Chris Brown. Yeah, I think Chris Brown was bigger than that. Maybe he was trying to come back. Maybe
I
you
think
and
so.
Compton. Compton's in a little bit of a rough area.
Well, yeah, at the time, definitely. I was very nervous. Well, work was work.
That's funny.
The things
So
we
so
do.
now you we'll go to the month. Okay. So I also want to mention to you, watch and since you love podcasts, it's a really cool podcast. It's called Off Book, the improv
Hmm,
musical. I have no clue how they do this. What they do is they just like do a musical like out of nowhere. They've got like doing piano, and then they just like they practice like a week before, and they like do like a whole musical, really silly musical. But
that's
well, they
cool.
practice these lines and sing. I have no clue how they do a whole musical in 1 week. I mean, it just wipes me out of any like talent that I might have.
I
But
gotta
it's
check
really
it
fun
out.
to see these people. It's incredible. Now, I want to say there's also one other thing. I put this up to somebody else, and about the situation with the economic issues of people having difficult affordability.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that there should maybe be a card that you have based on your income, and the card would give you a discount on basic things, housing, food, going to the gym, and the food would be only good, healthy food, none of these crackers and garbage stuff. And it would just give you a discount on that so that based on your income, you can afford to live life. You wouldn't get the total money. You still, and so give people the incentive to, if they didn't have the money to pay for it, make sure they have housing, make sure
Yeah.
do the basic stuff in life. What do you think of
I like that. Can I get one?
that? So your last thing that you've been working on, so this is your big project you're working on. And what else are you working on? What else you got going on?
I did an indie project, and it's supposed to hit later this year or next year, 2026. But I've been seeing some of it like slowly come out this year. It's called, this is going to sound like the N word, the narcissist word. Um, it's called Meosha. Now, I did not title it, my film partner, Francesco Monti, who's a film director, he's an Italian director, amazing, amazing guy. We did a really small project, and it has to do with just something that we could create together in one space. If we could actually put two minds together and create a story and make a film. And we're always trying to create stuff. And we came up with this concept. And I really have a big thing about, I don't know, the Halle Berry film Gothica. I loved it. And I love that kind of theme of it's, it's has to do with mental illness. So my character, who I play, the main character, gets a a present at her door, and then everything else ensues. Like, just it just spirals down out of control. So it's an interesting indie project, but we got it picked up and it should be coming out later this year.
You got it distributed the film already.
Yeah.
Are you the actor, the writer, or what's your roles in this?
I act, I co-written, and I co-directed with my film
Wow.
partner. Yeah.
And so, but and now you got the distribution deal all set.
Yeah.
And the distribution sale, if you don't mind asking, is that happen to do with giving you money up front, or is that about them selling the project?
It actually, we signed of giving us the money like after it does it's once it's all fully released, and I think they have like what 10 years with it. They have it 10 years.
But they guarantee that you're gonna get your money back that you put into it.
Yes.
Oh my
And we're
gosh.
supposed to get every 3 months, I believe, quarterly.
Boy, I really screwed up. I gotta get a distribution company. I use my agent. I don't know what to do. Oh my gosh. Everybody's very good. I don't know how to, the problem is how to make money on this stuff. All right. So that's coming out. And what else you working on?
Oh yeah, Church Hurt, which we're
Part
looking
two?
for more stories. So
Okay.
if anyone has a story, please feel free to reach out to
Gonna be
me
synagogue herd
directly.
too?
Yeah.
Gonna be synagogue herd and mosque herd and all that stuff. Yeah, everybody. Or just churches. The opening up to all the religions.
Right. Everybody. Everyone's welcome.
Yeah. Only thing I was gonna ask you that, does it make people not want to seek God?
So far,
Or
I I've had reviews, and everyone that's listened to it or gave a review, which I'm so grateful for. They've said it actually just makes them see like what to look out for when joining a church. Like,
okay.
what is it there to like, what are they there for? And
What is
things to
right?
look out for. Yeah,
Smart. That's a
yeah.
very good way of looking. Yes. Okay. Good. All right. And then any other exciting thing? What other things we're working on?
That's it really at this very moment
Cool.
that I
All
can
right.
talk
So we're
about.
going to see you 5 years from now.
Ooh,
We're going to
five
be five
years.
years from now.
5 years from now, definitely much bigger in the film directorial world. Um, and hopefully with creators to creators, that I really want that, like almost like a Candace Owens. Like, I heard that her podcast is #1 in the world. I was like, whoa,
Really?
that's insane. Or Joe
Don't
Rogan.
be,
I'm trying to get there.
don't be so like anti-Jewish for that one.
No, 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 definitely not.
By the way,
I'm trying to join. I need to. I hear that's
I
just
know, I know, I
that's
know.
how you win in
It's
Hollywood.
unbelievable how big she got. But I was going to also ask you if they want to know more about your works and get involved and help you out. How can they find out about
Yeah,
everything
you
you do?
can reach out to me, Meosha, Meosha Bean, on all platforms, or
B is BEAN.
yes, Bean,
Okay, yeah, okay,
BAN. Yes.
okay. What all the platforms, Facebook.
Facebook, Instagram. I have a website, or you could just Google my name and all the things will pop right up.
Okay. So I usually like to end with a positive note, and I hope this is positive too again. As I said before, sometimes life gets really difficult. People can be difficult, events can be difficult. I think it's important that you take, and I did this myself, time to breathe. I mean, seriously breathe. Do like breathing exercise, at least give yourself 2 minutes just to cool down before you reflect, before you act. slow down in your head. And God willing, you'll get to the point where what you say will have much more meaning than if you just said it without breathing. Thank you all for joining, and thank you so much, Meosha. It's a pleasure. God bless.